Craig with Games with Authentic Battle Damage. And here we are with our rock, paper, scissors game. We just got done doing some enumerations and access modifiers. And just to go over this again, here's all the C# programming language topics that we're going to be going over. I've been adding to these as I go, and here are the games that I'm going to be making. And I'll be connecting all of these ideas to each of the games as we use them. And just to show different ways that we can make games and what C# programming concepts we can use while we do that. And then we're also going to be going over some programming concepts and principles. In this one, I'm going to be talking about classes. We're going to create some classes for our rock, paper, scissors. And we're going to simplify it even more by encapsulating a lot of our functionality into specific classes and then having our classes interact. Don't know how much I'm going to be able to get done in this particular one, but we might have to split it up, which that's okay. So our biggest thing that we're going to be dealing with here is complexity, and also taking functionality and putting it into a black box and just dealing with inputs and outputs. It makes programming so much simpler. So let's get started. So here is our so here's our rock, paper, scissors game. And it's fully functional since the last time we used it. Let's take a look. Looks like it is. I'm just going to try a couple here. Oh, I lost. Of course I did. Oh, I lost again. Of course I did. Oh, I lost again. Okay, I'm going to win this time. No, seriously. I'm going to win. Yes, I knew it. Okay, I lost 4 times. That sucked. Oh, well. At least we know that it works, so that's the important thing. So let's take a look at our program. We've got these enumerations that represent our rock, paper, scissors, our win state. Then we have a win table that we can very easily find out who won. And we use that down here in a method called win table result, where we pass in the player 1 weapon, the player 2 weapon, and then we return the win state. We have some variables here for score. We have our random object. And then we have some printing of like our greeting, print weapon choice. So here's what we're going to do. Okay, so we have our program here, and what we're basically going to do is we're going to separate it into 3 specific classes. We're going to create a class that's going to be our model. And our model is going to hold basically our data. It's going to have like the win table in it to start. It's also going to have our players in it. And then we're also going to create a view class. And our view class is going to do nothing but just present stuff to the screen. And then we're going to create a controller class. So each of these classes will be doing a specific job. And I think today we're probably only going to get to making a model class and a player class. So let's get to it. Let's start out by taking out our player. So I'm going to view and open up solution. And in our rock, paper, scissors project, I'm going to add a new file. It's going to be an empty class, and we're going to call it player. All right, So our player, so here's the class. We can get rid of this namespace for now because we're gonna talk about namespaces at some point, but not right now. All right, so here's our player class. Here is our constructor. All right, so the first thing we can do is weapons are related to players. So the first thing we can do is we can move our weapon into our player there. And then let's remove it from here. Let's see what errors we get. Okay, and then here we can then do player dot. All right. There we go. Let's move this out a little bit more. All right, so let's just run it and see if we get any issues. And it looks like we're fine. Of course. Oh. All right. Not my night. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So now we have the player holding the rock, paper, scissors weapon, and now we're using that here. That's perfect. The other thing that we can do in player is we'll want to, let's replace right here, computer choice and player choice. So the actual choice weapon that they choose, we want to put that into the player. So let's create a function in player and we'll call it public void. No, actually, void choose weapon. So for our first player, we can then move the code here that is the get player choice. We can basically move all of this right into here. Now, of course, we don't want it to be like player choice or anything. We want it to be a weapon choice. So let's create a weapon object, or sorry, let's create a field that represents the chosen weapon, and let's call it public weapon chosen weapon. Okay, and then here, when we say choose weapon, we can do this. That's our chosen weapon. Let's make this, because it's a variable, let's make it a lowercase. There, I like that better. All right, great. Another thing we can do is we can give the player a name. So let's create a variable, public public string name. There. And then when we create the player, we can put that in the constructor. So, so we'll do string name here, and then this dot name will equal name. There. All right. So now let's replace the first player. Let's replace the first player with this code. We don't need this anymore. So that should give us some red to deal with. There it is. And then up here, let's create our static player. So static player, let's call it live player equals new player, and then the name we'll give it as you. There. And then what we can do is here at the player choice, it'll be live player dot choose weapon. There. And then here would be live player dot chosen weapon. Okay. Let's run this and see if we get any errors. Nope. Oh, come on, seriously. Okay, finally, man. All right. All right, so now we've successfully created the player. Now, what I want to do is I want to reuse this class for the computer player. So one way to do that is let's create a Boolean that represents our computer player. Okay, so we'll call it public bool is computer opponent, because computer opponents, they don't get to choose their weapon here with the read line. They have to do it randomly. So to do this, we're going to want to take the get computer choice, and we're going to want to move this into the player class. But this time what we can do is in choose weapon, we can do if is computer opponent. Oh, helps if he's opponent, yeah. If is computer opponent chosen weapon equals else there. And you can see here we're having an issue with rand, and rand is used here. In fact, let's build this. We're going to get an error there. So here we're going to have to, down here, let's create our static player computer player equals new player computer. Now, how are we going to know if the computer player is, it's a computer player? We'd have to go computer player dot is let's take a look at this bool is computer opponent. Oh, we can't do that there. So here's a better way to do it. Let's add this to here. Now what we can do is we can create a optional argument or optional parameter. And the way you do that is you do bool computer opponent equals false. So it's going to default to false if you don't put anything in there. And then here we can do is computer opponent equals computer opponent. There. All right. And then here, now we don't have to pass anything for the live player, but for this player we can put true. And that's going to make our computer opponent. All right. And then here at the computer, at this choice, we can do computer player dot choose weapon, and it should pick its weapon. And then all we need to do is computer player dot chosen weapon, and replace these. All right, that's looking good. Let's compile this again. Yep, we're still having an issue with rand, and let's move our rand, because this is the only place it's being used. So now we can make it a field inside player, and we don't have to make it public. We can make it private because it's only used in here. There. Okay, let's run this and see if we get any errors. Nope. I lose. Man, I'm really sucking. Draw. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Finally. All right. All right. So take a look at what we've got so far here. We've got the chosen weapon. And we have basically we moved our rock, paper, scissors into here. Our weapon. That's all good for me. So yeah, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move the scoring over. So let's just do that really quick. So the first thing we're going to need to do is let's create a field for score. So public int score, and then we will create a function public void scored, and then we'll just do score equals score plus 1. Great. And then we can replace that in here. So let's get rid of the player score and the computer score. Let's see where, okay. And then, so we should be able to then do live player dot score here, and then computer player dot score here, right? And then we don't need these anymore because they're being done in the player class. And then here we can just replace these with computer player dot scored, and then here live player dot scored. All right, let's run this and see if we get any errors. Oh my gosh. Okay, yes. Awesome. I like that. All right, well, this is good for now. I think we pretty much have our player class is looking good. And we'll get into next we're going to create the model class, and I'll start showing you how what we're doing is we're basically moving some of these classes, and they're only going to be accessible in certain parts. So this is going to make the code easier to read because we'll have an actual path we can follow. So if we have an issue with the player, we know exactly where to look. We can look in the player class, whereas before we had to look, say somewhere else. So, all right, great. If you like this, please go ahead and like the video. Otherwise, if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.